All praise, honor, and glory belongs to the heavenly highest, to our heavenly Father Yahawah, and our King Hamashiach Yahushai. I thank you guys for all joining me today. I pray that you guys are all blessed, and I pray for your edification, for your increase in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding today, as I do for myself always. Whenever I do these lessons, they're for you, for me, my children, my family, your family, for all of us. All right. And I made sure I included myself because these are for my study as well. Because every time I do these lessons, you realize that I learn stuff also. All right. And so again, I have the dual benefit from doing these lessons, right? The work in the ministry, and then for my own increase, because without failure, right? Every time I do a lesson, I'll be, given the lesson, and while I'm giving it, things will be dawning on me, or a better way to say it is the spirit will be talking to me and revealing things to me that before I didn't understand, or I thought I understood, but I was given a better understanding in the moment, in the moment while I'm delivering it. It'll like freestyling. I'll start freestyling, right? Like the thoughts will just be coming to my head all of a sudden that I've never had before, right? My eyes will be open to things in a way that I've never seen them before. And so again, I benefit and you benefit. So let's all, study and be edified by the lessons together. I don't, make myself out to be, the smartest or the most wise, because I understand that we know in part, we prophesy in part, and that we're breadcrumbed through this truth. All right. We get spiritual updates every so often, at the behest of our Father through the Spirit, right? However he wants to deliver it to us, whenever he wants to deliver it to us, we all get it, at different times, at a different rate, you know what I mean? To his glory. So with that being said, I want to get into this study because I know many people need it. I know many people need it because I see them all the time. All right. And so we're constantly in a battle against wickedness. We can't forget it. And wickedness doesn't sleep. Evil doesn't sleep. Satan doesn't sleep, doesn't take a day off. He's constantly roaming like uh, a hungry lion, seeking who he can devour in this truth. And those of us who are weaker in the spirit will be devoured if those of us who are stronger in the spirit don't help them, don't stand up for them, and help be a defense for them. And so this is what we have to do. Those of us who are stronger, we help those who are weaker. All right. And so I want to begin with Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. It says, put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. That means consume the whole Bible, the entirety of it, all of it. Don't just study the Old Testament. Don't just study the New Testament. Don't just study prophecy. Don't just study Esau. Don't just study Mark of the Beast. All of it, every last bit of it. All right. Don't just study salvation. Study all of it. All right. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. But before I move too fast, because I'm forgetting to highlight my point, right, of this lesson, is that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. All right. Against the what does that mean? Against the wiles of the devil. Wiles. And it means the cunning arts, the deceit, the craft, the trickery. All right. The cunning arts, like Christianity is a cunning art. The deceit, Christianity and all of its doctrines are deceit. It's craft. It's trickery. All right. And so if you don't know this, you're subject to fall and be a prey to it. Okay. So, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. See, our daily struggles, our daily battles are not with people, are not with man. All right. But against principalities, against powers. All right. I mean, spirits, angels, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. The rulers of the darkness of this world are wicked angels, what we call demons, right? Against spiritual wickedness in high places. Again, that's what we call demons, because these wicked angels, these powers, these rulers of darkness, the spiritual wickedness in high places, they're inhabiting people. They're possessing, there we go. It almost escaped me. They are possessing people and using them for wickedness, for evil. And it may be someone close to you who is an instrument of these powers being used. And it may be you who is an instrument, a vessel of these powers being used. And the only way that you can be taken over by them is if what? You haven't put on the whole armor of God. That's how you're able to be a vessel for them. You have not the whole armor of God. All right. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor. See, it emphasizes it again. The whole armor, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. All right. Because this is what we need. We need this full truth of the scriptures in order to withstand in the evil day. And our Christian brethren, or our brethren who are newly out of Christianity into this truth, they're more susceptible to the devil, more susceptible to Satan. And many people will come into this door, into this walk, and walk right back out of it, because this is not a comfortable place. It's not a safe space for demons. The truth is no safe space for demons. So you'll see these people who they'll come in and then they'll run back to Christianity, and you'll see their videos talking about why they left the Israelite awakening and why they went back to Christianity. Well, it's because the demons in them were not comfortable around godliness. Their need for lies wasn't satisfied in the truth. They were vexed by the truth, so they ran back to where they could be comforted with lies. All right. And so we are here to dispel lies. That's what it's about. We're defenders of the truth. All right. Meaning we're defenders of Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahushua. We are defenders of the Holy Spirit through the Holy Spirit by command of Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahushua. Understand? It says, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth. All right? Because the lies don't profit you. They're not going to be a defense. That's a weak shield, right? A limp sword. All right? It won't profit you in battle. Does you no good. All right? So let's go to Hebrews chapter 4, verse 9 to go ahead and get into this lesson. The believers rest, and it has to be said. All right? It's not talking about Christian believers. It means the believers of Israel. You see, not all of Israel believed in our Messiah or believed in his gospel, believed in what he taught, but many did. Those who believed in him among Israel, that's who this is for, the believers of Israel. Because again, contrary to Christian doctrine, all of Israel have not been thrown away, because some of Israel were non-believers, were unbelievers. No, they get thrown away, but the believers of Israel are preserved. That's the remnant that you constantly hear spoken of. That's going to be saved, the remnant of Israel. All right. So we know there is a rest for the Israelite believers. All right. And we're going to make the case and make the point today that believers applies to Israel. Let's begin. Let us therefore fear, lest the promise, first of all, it's called the book of Hebrews. All right. Why? Because it's written, it's the epistles to the Hebrews, right? The Hebrew Israelites, not for everybody. So let's get the context in there and out of the way. All of these epistles are to Israelites. All right. But I'm making the point about this one because it's specifically named the book of Hebrews. So this one doesn't even allow any wiggle room the way the other books do, because they don't specifically, make it absolutely clear. You got to know history in order to understand who the other ones are speaking to. And you got to be able to be clear on scripture. This one, without having to be clear on history and without understanding any scripture, you should know who this is meant for, because it's addressed to the Hebrews. All right. So this one, doesn't allow you the opportunity for ignorance to say, well, no, Will is talking about, the spiritual Hebrews, the spirit, those of us who are Hebrews, who are Israelites spiritually, who are spiritual converts. That's not a such thing. There's no such thing as a spiritual convert. All right. You can be a religious convert. You can be a convert to an ideology or to a belief system, but you can't be a convert into a bloodline. You can't convert into a bloodline. You can't convert spiritually. You can repent, you can change spiritually, but you can't convert. There's a difference. All right. All right. So let's continue. Let us therefore fear, us being Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. All right. Specifying the fact that the promises of entering into the rest of our Lord was meant for Israel. The promises were given to Israel, not to the entire world, not to whosoever believe in Jebus. All right. For unto us was the gospel preached, not to everybody, not to the whole earth, as well as unto them. Who's this talking about? This is talking about the difference between the Israelite believers and the non-believing Israelites. This is who it's talking about. This is them. All right. For unto us, the believers, the gospel was preached, as well as unto them, the non-believers, the unbelievers. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. You see, our Father has to give us faith. He is the one that leads us and draws us unto him. If he doesn't give us faith, if he doesn't open our understanding, then we will not have faith in the word spoken, in the word preached, the gospel preached. All right. So for we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise. All right. The seventh day of creation and the seventh day of world history. And the Most High did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place, again, if they shall enter into my rest, singing therefore, it remaineth that some must enter in. Listen, it remaineth that some must enter in. Some of Israel, not all. It was never meant for all of Israel to get this. All of Israel was never meant to believe and to be saved. So when your Christian church tells you that because all of Israel didn't believe, then all of Israel was thrown away and we get to come in and become the new Israelites, that's pure foolishness. It was never the Father's intention for all of Israel to enter. All right. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief. All right. Many Israelites didn't believe. Many of Judah didn't believe. So the word got to go out to the other tribes in order for the Most High to keep his promise that he would make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not just with the house of Judah. Again, he limited a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Yahawah had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? There remaineth therefore a rest to who? To the people of God, to the people of the Most High. And this is where I want to springboard from, because many Christians believe that they are his people, that if you believe in Jesus, that if you take Jesus as your Lord and Savior, then you become his people. That if you believe in the scriptures, you believe in the gospels, then you get to become an Israelite. You get to convert and become a spiritual Israelite. You get to become one of his people. This is not true. He has never said this. There are no scriptures in the Bible which support that line of thinking. All right. There is no such thing as, being a heathen or Gentile and converting into the Israelite bloodline. You can't do it. You are either an Israelite by blood or you are not. If you are an Israelite by blood, you have to be a believing Israelite to be saved. If you are an Israelite by blood and you do not believe in the gospel, you do not believe in the new covenant, the New Testament, or Yahawah, you cannot enter into his rest. But it doesn't change the fact that the people of God are the Israelites, the blood-born Israelites, the blood descendants of Jacob. All right. So this rest is not for everyone. All right. It clearly stated that the rest remains for the people of the Most High. All right. But who are the people of the Most High according to the scripture, not according to Christian doctrine? All right. Christianity claims that it's all believers, but we're going to go ahead and search the scriptures to see who Yahawah himself calls my people. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into the scriptures that prove this. All right. There are many scriptures. I'm not going to, there's no even need for all that commentary. Let's just go ahead and start getting into it. All right. And this is going to be sort of exhaustive. So bear with me, because we got to beat this thing into the ground in order to make a statement, because our Father is not the author of confusion. He knows what he means and he says what he means. All right. He means what he says. Okay. He wasn't confused. All right. He called the end from the beginning, knowing all things that would ever happen. So he didn't make a promise. He didn't say what he would do, and then he had to change the plan because of unbelievers. He knew that there would be unbelievers before he ever made the promise. So the promise isn't X'd out. It isn't done away with because of unbelievers. They were always factored in when he made the promise in the first place. All right, so Exodus 3, verse 10 says, "Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh," talking to Moses, "that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt." All right. There was the Egyptians and there were other nations in Egypt in addition to the Israelites. But yet, when he says, "You're going to bring forth my people out of Egypt," he specifies his people are the children of Israel. Right? Okay. Let's go to Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. "And afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, Thus saith Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahushai, the God of Israel, let my people go. Let my people go, that they may hold that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness." All right. So he's talking about Israel. For one, he calls himself the God of Israel. All right. And Pharaoh, this whole story is about the Israelites being brought out of Egypt into the wilderness. And he says, "Let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness." He said nothing about all the other peoples, the nations who were in Egypt at the time. Because if you understand history, again, you understand that much like in America right now and other places around the world, you got different ethnic groups and nations of people all within the country. All right. So this would be the same as, the Most High sending someone to Donald Trump and saying, "Hey, let the blacks go." Let the blacks go. Let my people, the African Americans, go. I'm just putting that in terms for people who don't know better or believe in us being Israel to understand. But we are Israel. All right. So it'll be same as come to him and saying, "Let the Israelites go." All right. Let my people, the Israelites, go. All right. There are many people, but we are the people that he calls his people. Okay, let's go to Exodus 6, verse 7. And I will take you to me for a people, speaking to Israel. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a power, a God. And ye shall know that I am Yahawah, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, your God. Not everybody's, your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you into the land concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And I will give it to you for an heritage. I am Yahawah, Bashem Yahushai. And Moses spake so unto the children of Israel. Okay. Let's go to Exodus 7, verse 4. And it reads, but Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt. So he's saying, I'm not going to allow Pharaoh to hearken unto you, because I want to lay my hands on Egypt. I want to destroy them. All right. I want to put a hurting on them. So I'm not going to allow Pharaoh to comply. I'm going to make him buck up. All right. I'm going to cause him to harden his heart against you, against me. All right. That I may lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth mine armies. And bring forth my armies. He's talking about Israel. And my people, the children of Israel. And my people, who? The children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. So he lets you know who his people are. This is not up for debate. This is, it's not unclear, and maybe you can read it this way. No. And my people, the children of Israel, a clear-cut statement. Okay. Let's go to Exodus 12. Verse 31. And it reads, and he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go serve Yahawah as ye have said. Right? And so this is Pharaoh, right? Calling for Moses, all right, and tell him to rise up and get you out from among my people, all right, showing that there's a separation between Pharaoh's people and the Most High's people. But they're also his creation, right? But they're not his people, but they're not the Most High's people. The Most High doesn't call them his people. Pharaoh calls them his people, but the Most High doesn't call them his people. All right? Those are Pharaoh's people. The Most High has his people. All people are his creation, but all people are not his family. All people are not those who he calls his people. All right, let's go to Leviticus 26. Verse 12. And I will walk among you and be your God, and ye shall be my people. All right, speaking to Israel, talking about the covenant, right? For I will have respect unto you, in verse 9, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you, not with all the earth. So anyone says that, the promises and the blessings and salvation can't be just for Israel, can't be just for one group of people. That's the same thing as saying his covenant could never be for one group of people. The old covenant could never be for just for one group of people. But it was clearly for one group of people. So if the old covenant could be and was for one group of people, why is it impossible for the new covenant to be with and for one group of people? Right? Again, he says, and I will walk among you. Right? Verse 11 says, and I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I will walk among you and be your God, your power, and ye shall be my people. All right. Again, he's making an agreement with Israel for them to be his people. He didn't start doing something new in the New Testament. He didn't start changing it up. This is like watching a movie, right? He's establishing the characters in the Old Testament and the relationships that are gonna that everything that you see in the New Testament is going to derive from. That's going to be, the what is the word I'm looking for? Don't escape me. The progression of the story. The characters, the main characters, don't just change up at the end of the movie, at the end of the story, right? You don't read, any story and then all of a sudden at the end of the story, they spend the whole beginning of the movie, the whole beginning of the story establishing characters, establishing, relationships and links between this and that. And then all of a sudden at the end of the movie, they just completely obliterate all of that and just do something complete. They just introduce some brand new characters at the end of the movie. Brand new antagonist just popped up at the end of the movie. Yeah. That doesn't even sound right. That would not make for a good movie if you went to see one. That wouldn't make for a good novel if you read one that was written that way. So why would you think the Most High would write a story that way? Why would you think he would produce a movie that way? It's just crazy. All right, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2. And so you people, in your zeal, you're disrespecting the Most High and you don't realize it. You're disrespecting him. You think that you're honoring him and that you love him so much, but you're trying to say that he's foolish in the way that he does things, that the way he does things doesn't make any sense, that he's really not almighty. He's really not omniscient or omnipotent. He really doesn't know everything. He really doesn't have control over everything. Things are just happening. And see, that's what you also say when you say that Satan is just out here running renegade, doing his own thing. So Christianity has it all wrong when it pertains to this. All right. So again, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 29. Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice and not mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honorest thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel, my people. All right. Again, another instance of him saying that Israel is his people. All right, let's go to, no, not 1 Samuel 3, 2 Samuel 3. Verse 18. Now then do it, for Yahawah Bahashem Yahushai has spoken of David, saying, by the hand of my servant David, I will save my people Israel. I will save my people Israel out of the hands of the Philistines and out of the hand of all their enemies. So if he said this before and he did this before, why does it not stand to reason that in the New Testament, when he is saying he's going to do this again, or when you see him doing this again, that he is not dealing with and talking about Israel? Why do you think suddenly they stopped being his people? We stopped being his people. Why do you think he went from having a history and a pattern of showing his love and him saving Israel to now all of a sudden thinking that salvation is no longer for Israel. Although salvation all throughout the rest of the book has always been for Israel. He's always been saving Israel, putting them in captivity, saving them out of it, putting them in captivity, saving them out of it, sending nations against them, saving them out of the hands of those enemies. What makes you think something is different? It is not. The same patterns have continued until now. All right. He put his Israelites in captivity, the black people, the African Americans, and so forth. And he's going to save us out of it. You see, all you're witnessing now is the continuation of the pattern. He established a pattern and it's continuing. You're supposed to be able to recognize patterns. All right. 2, 3, and 4-year-olds learn how to identify patterns. Star, square, circle, star, square, circle, star, square, circle, star, square. What comes next? Circle. Right? They know. But yet you're reading the scriptures and you're confused. You're reading punish Israel, save Israel, punish Israel, save Israel, punish Israel, save Israel, punish Israel. What comes next? Throw Israel away. What? Gather some new people. Wait, what? That's how you guys are really reading the scriptures, and it's asinine. Seriously. All right, let's stay in 2 Samuel. Let's go to chapter 5, verse 2. Also, in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou was he that led us out and broughtest in Israel. And Yahawah said to thee, thou shalt feed my people Israel. Wait, it doesn't say thou shalt feed my people, the Christians. Why doesn't it say that? If the Most High wanted us to know that the Christians were his people, don't you think it would have said it in the Bible at least one time? Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be a captain over Israel. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 7. See, this is how you got to fight against the devil. You got to fight against Satan. All right. You can't just bring out a couple scriptures. You got to, bludgeon him to death with the word, with the truth, whenever possible. All right. You got to give them no room, no way to come back. You ever been watching a movie, like a horror movie or something, and they finally get the ups on, the villain, right? On the monster or whatever, on Jason, on Freddy, on Michael Myers, right? Or whoever it is. And then they hit him one time or stab him one time and, or shoot him and he's laying there and then they walk off and then he pops back up. Yeah. See, that's what evil does. You got to finish evil off. You can't leave them any room to bounce back because they will. They'll come back. If you don't do a good enough job, they'll come back. So you got to go overboard. You got to obliterate them and give them no opportunity to bounce back, to come back and haunt you. All right. You got to do them. All right. You got to do them with the truth. What do you mean do them with the truth? You know what I mean? Screw them over. You got to do them in. You got to kill them. I was trying to avoid saying it, but it is what it is. You got to kill them with the truth. All right. And I don't mean, again, I mean what I mean. You got to kill them with the truth. There's no other way. I got to clarify that to make sure that nobody is taking what I'm saying the wrong way. And then I'm saying, hey, you got to go out and go kill these people. No, I specify you got to kill them with the truth. All right. So nobody can be saying, oh, he's speaking violence. He's saying you got to kill Christians. No, saying you got to destroy their ideologies with the truth. You got to destroy that demon in them with the truth. Those spirits, those powers that dwell in them, that possess them, that inhabit them. You got to kill them. You got to kill their mission, their ideology, their doctrines with the truth. All right. And so sometimes you got to whip out, the bazooka to kill an ant. All right. You got to make sure it gets done. All right. So 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 7. In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye not me a house of cedar? Again, in all the places wherein I have walked with the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, who I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, build ye not me a house of cedar? But the point is, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel. All right, and him saying that I have walked with all the children of Israel, never with the other nations. This is a relationship he has with Israel, a relationship. They are beloved, dear to him. That's why he walks with them and not with all the other nations or with any other nation. Verse 8, now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith Yahawah of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. All right. And we know that King David was also a foreshadowing of Yahawah, who will come to rule over his people, Israel. All right, verse 10. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people, Israel, and will plant them, and that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore as before time. All right, so this is a prophecy of the future. All right, a prophecy to come. This hasn't happened yet. We're waiting for this to be established. All right, so you see the promise is that he will appoint a place for his people Israel. I will plant them, not throw them away because of 100% of them not believing in my son. No, that's not what he says. He knew what he was saying. He knew what he would come. He knew what would come when he said what he said. And yet he said what he said anyway. It stands to reason that he meant what he was talking about. If you're trying to say anything to the contrary, you're putting words in his mouth and you're calling him a liar. You're saying that he didn't know what he was doing. You're making yourself an enemy of the highest and you don't know it. And that's dangerous. That's why many people got to hear this truth, because many people have set themselves against the Most High and don't realize it. Because if you set yourself against the truth, you set yourself against the Most High. That's the bottom line. So 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 8. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. All right. He's talking about Israel. Thy servant here is speaking about King David. All right. And verse 7 says, and now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant that thou hast made thy servant king instead of David, my father. And I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. All right. This is King Solomon speaking. All right. Who ruled over Israel. He didn't rule over all the nations of the earth. He ruled over Israel. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people. All right. Which thou hast chosen. Israel is the people, his people, who he has chosen. All right. Let's go to chapter 6. All right. 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 13. And I will dwell among the children of Israel. No, I will dwell among the Christians, among whosoever believe of all the nations of the earth. No, that's not what the promise is. All right. This is the Most High's given his word. His word. And I will dwell among the children of Israel. Listen, and will not forsake my people Israel. All right. He will not cast off Israel. He will not forsake Israel. But that's what Christianity says. If the Most High says that he will not forsake his people, Israel, and there's a doctrine that says that he will, where would that doctrine come from? Who would be responsible for it? Sounds like somebody who was the enemy of the Most High, right? Right. Somebody who was a liar, right? Right. Who's the father of lies again? Oh, yeah, that's right. Satan. It's almost as if Christianity is Satan's religion. It's almost as if the doctrines of Christianity are the doctrines of Satan. And if all of that be true, the Christians must be the people of Satan. See why this is so dangerous? See why the truth is so important? Because many people are worshiping Satan unawares. They are following Satan unawares. That Jebus character, Satan, that's one of his forms. That image, the white man, Jebus, yep, that's one of his forms. Jebus is one of his names, and the Christian doctrine is one of his philosophies, one of his doctrines, one of them. All right. All right, so we're going to 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 16. Since the day that I brought forth my people Israel out of Egypt, I chose no city out of all the tribes of Israel to build an house, that my name might be therein. But I chose David to be over my people Israel. You see? Verse 17, and it was in the heart of David, my father, to build an house for the name of Yahawah, the God of Israel. Go to verse 22. And Solomon stood before the altar of Yahawah in the presence of all the congregation of Israel and spread forth his hands toward heaven. All right. So he is in the midst of the Most High's people, ruling over the Most High's people, praying amongst the Most High's people. All right. And he said, Yahawah, the God of Israel, there is no God like thee in heaven above or on earth beneath, who keepeth covenant and mercy with thy servants that walk before thee with all their heart. So again, there is distinction, right? It says, who keepeth covenant and mercy with thy servants that walk before thee with all their heart. So again, this is a distinction made between the believers of Israel and the non-believers. There's a separation. All right. He loves and keeps his covenant and mercy with the believers of Israel. And that's what it's all about. It's all about the believers of Israel. All right. Not just for everybody among Israel. Okay. Verse 33 reads, when thy people Israel be smitten down before the enemy. That's all I want to get from here. When thy people Israel be smitten down before the enemy. Another instance of clarification of who his people are. Let's come down to verse 38. What prayer and supplication soever be made by any man or by all thy people Israel, or by all your people Israel. All right, he's speaking to Yahawah concerning his people Israel. All right. Verse 41. Moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. Listen, you hear what it says? Moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel. Why did it say that? Because you can be a stranger and of Israel. What does that mean if you become a stranger? You become a Gentile. A Gentile Israelite. That's what he's talking about. Moreover, concerning a stranger that is not a Gentile Israelite. He's a Gentile of the other nations. All right. Concerning a stranger that is not of thy people, Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. All right. Verse 43. Hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger calleth to thee for, that all people of the earth may know thy name, to fear thee, as do thy people Israel. So you see, because the plan is for every knee to bend, every head to bow, and every tongue to confess. That is the plan for the Most High, for everyone to worship him eventually. But first, he's getting his own house in order. But that's the plan, is that when Israel is set in order, that the other nations will come up to worship our God through us and at our feet, in our presence. But again, it doesn't change the fact that it says, as do thy people Israel. It never switches and calls all of these people his people. All right, let's go to verse 44. If thy people go out to battle against their enemy, whithersoever thou shalt send them, and shall pray unto Yahawah toward the city which thou hast chosen, and toward the house that I have built for thy name. And what is the purpose of bringing this out? Well, it's just a highlight, right? Where it says, if thy people go out to battle against their enemy. Again, showing that Israel is always and only the people referred to as his people. All right, let's get verse 52. That thine eyes may be open unto the supplication of thy servant, and unto the supplication of thy people Israel, to hearken unto them in all that they call for unto thee. Verse 53. For thou didst separate them from among all the people of the earth. You hear that? Israel has been separated, made special and holy among all the people of the earth, to be thine inheritance. Israel, the Israelites, are the inheritance of the Most High. That's why we're called his people. We're his possession. We are his inheritance. Okay? Very clear, right? Should be. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 10. Verse 9 reads, Blessed be Yahawah thy power, which delighted in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel. Listen, listen to what the Queen of Sheba is saying. Blessed be Yahawah thy God. Remember, he's always called the God of Israel, and Israelites always call him our God. And look at Sheba, the Queen of Sheba, she's saying, blessed be Yahawah, your God, not my God, not our God, not everybody's God, your God. She's speaking to, this is a non-Israelite woman speaking to an Israelite man, calling Yahawah his God. You see? But listen to what else she's saying. Because Yahawah loved Israel forever, therefore made he thee king to do judgment and justice. Because Yahawah loved Israel forever. See, she's acknowledging this, the truth. And because it is truth, like when you read in Ezekiel, forget which chapter it is, 37, 38, possibly, can't remember right now, where it says that, you know, that she would be regenerated and she would be among us in the last days when the foreigners are sojourning among us, when those who are deemed righteous and worthy enough to cleave unto us are cleaving among us, she's going to be among them. And you see this acknowledgement of truth, Her not fighting the truth is the reason why she'll get to cleave. See, if she set herself against the Most High and made herself his enemy, she wouldn't get to cleave. She wouldn't get to make it. She understood that he's the God of the Israelites, that he loves Israel. She didn't try to usurp Israel's love and position. So therefore, she's going to get to make it into the kingdom. Take notes. All right, let's go to chapter 11, 1 Kings 11. Verse 13 reads, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. All right. And so what is this point? Right. Well, the point here is just to highlight something about King Solomon, right? That King Solomon was beloved of the Most High, even though he had all of these wives and concubines who eventually turned away his heart. All of those other women and all of these other nations, they had other gods. This is what I want to show you. They had their own gods. You see, they had their own gods, and the Most High was not pleased with their worship of their gods, but those are their gods. He just said he didn't want us to go after their gods. He never said that he didn't want them to go after those gods. No, he told us not to do it because we're the only people who had a relationship with him. We are the people that belong to him. So we were supposed to be different. Those were the gods set over the other nations. He is our God. We're supposed to be set apart. We are his inheritance. Those other gods, those other people are the inheritance of those other gods. Little g, small g, gods, right? Let's go to verse 13. Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom because of him getting in trouble by sacrificing to those other gods who were the gods of the other nations. Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son David for my servant's sake and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. All right. Again, he's reiterating the fact that he has chosen Israel. That's what it means when he says Jerusalem. He's not talking here about the land. He's talking about the people, which he has chosen. All right. So he has not thrown away all of Israel because of King Solomon's mistake. Oh, this is also what I want to show you. All right. King Solomon's transgression didn't get all of Israel forsaken and thrown away. He didn't do that. That's not his character. So I want to show you it's not the Most High's character. It is not what he has done. He has not shown a history of doing that. So why would you think that he would start doing it all of a sudden if he has never shown a history of doing that? He's never said that he would do it. He has said quite the opposite and has shown the opposite. Yet you believe the opposite of the truth. Who's leading you if you believe the opposite of the truth? Think about it. If the Holy Spirit leads you to truth, who and what is leading you to the lies? Right? Did I get everything I wanted from here? No. Um, no, yes, okay. Let's get verse 32. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Now, you see, this is why when you read in the New Testament, you only read about the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, and not all the 12 tribes, because they were not all together. They were split. The kingdom was split, and he preserved one tribe. Well, I should say 2.5 tribes, right? 3 tribes. Let's call it 3 tribes, right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And together they are referred to as the house of Judah. That's who you primarily see in the New Testament. That's who Yahushua was born among. That's who all his apostles were drawn from. But you see, the other tribes were split, so they weren't all together. That's the reason why the apostles and disciples had to go out to the Gentiles. You see, this is how the other tribes became Gentiles. They became Israelite strangers. Okay? Verse 34. Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David, my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. You see, he preserves those, and he has a special blessing for those who love him, and preserve his commandments and his statutes. So you think that he's going to throw away all of Israel, even the believers, because of the non-believers? Show me that in his character. Show me something in the past that leads you to believe that's what he would do. I'm showing you something that should tell you that he wouldn't do it, that he didn't do what you say that he did. It's not him. He never said that he would do it, and he has shown you nothing to lead you to believe that that is something in his character that he would do. All right, 1 Kings 14, verse 7. Go, tell Jeroboam, thus saith Yahawah, the God of Israel, for as much as I exalted thee from among the people and made thee prince over my people Israel. I made thee a prince over my people Israel. Okay? Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 13. And Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. For thus saith Yahawah, the God of Israel, right? But thus saith Yahawah, the God of Israel, all right? I just wanted to touch that real quick, because in this moment, you know, it's a tough time going on in the land, and the Most High preserves his people who love him and fear him through tough times. He doesn't forsake those that love him. He will care for you, and he will use other people to do it. He'll bless other people just so they can be a blessing unto you. And this is what he has always done. I'm trying to show you a pattern. I'm trying to teach you how to read patterns, how to see what a person would do based off of what they have done, right? We know that, you know, history is a good indication of future events, future actions, right? That's why, you know, people look at your job history, right? You got to fill out a resume. That's why they do background checks, right? That's why they do credit checks, right? Because the past is a great indicator of future actions, future activity, future conduct. So you're supposed to look at what the Most High has done in order to learn him, get to know him, so you can gauge what he would do. But the kicker is this: you don't just got to gauge what he would do, because he told you what he was gonna do. All you have to do is believe him. He made it easy. You didn't have to figure anything out. You just have to believe him. You just have to listen to him and believe him. He's not throwing away those that love him because of those that don't. All right. Yes, there are many Israelites who do not love him, but he's not throwing away all of Israel because of them. He's not going to adopt a new group of people because of some of his children have pissed him off. No, that's not what he would do. That's not what he said that he would do. All right. Let's go to 2 Kings 17. And let's come down to verse 13. Yet Yahawah testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I have commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants, the prophets, who are all Israelites, right? Who are all Israelites. He said, testify against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, not by the Christian pastors, right? Not by the Christian evangelicists, right? Didn't say that because he's only dealing with Israel. He only sends his word to Israel and through Israel. This is his pattern. This is his habit. This is his character. This is his history. This is what he has shown you. So you can get to know him, to know what he has done, so that you know what he would do. All right. Again, he called out through the prophets to tell his people, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes. All right. Now, what do you think he's going to do when his people turn from their evil ways to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded to their fathers? You think they're going to be thrown away for you, the Christians? No, he's telling them to turn away and keep his commandments and his statutes so he can turn back to them. He's going to forgive them of their transgressions and iniquities. That's what he desires to do with Israel, to heal them, to forgive them. He just wants them to turn back. All right, let's come down to verse 23. Until the Lord Yahawah removed Israel out of his sight, as he said by all his servants, the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. What is the point? What are you bringing out here? History, patterns. He got mad at Israel. He removed them out of his sight, right? They were carried away out of their land into Assyria. What am I? Okay, now what are you really trying to say? I'm trying to point to you and show you how right now in these last days, right? We, the people, the black folks who you guys call black people, who are really the Israelites, we are in the lands of our captivities. The pattern. He got upset with us. He sent other nations against us to take us captive. This is what he has always done. But what always comes after captivity? Deliverance. He has been showing this pattern over and over and over again. And here we are now. So you see, he didn't throw them away, right? Here, he put them, he sent them into captivity to the Assyrians, and then he saved them out of it. He put us in captivity with Egyptians, saved us out of it. Put us in captivity with the Babylonians, took us out of it. All right. Went into captivity under the Medo-Persian Empire, took us out. All right. Under captivity to the Grecians, took us out from under the Grecians. Captivity under the Romans, took us out from under the Romans. Right? This constant pattern over and over and over again. We are still living it out, but we are in the last cycle. This is never going to happen again. We are in our final captivity, our seventh and final captivity, seventh perfection, right? Completion. We have reached the end of this cycle of captivity, salvation, captivity, salvation. So now we are in the lands of our captivities, waiting for our final salvation, our final deliverance. Okay. Let's go to 2 Kings 21, verse 8. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers. We know that way back then, when this is being spoken, we went in and out, in and out, in and out of captivity. So you know that this has to be talking about a time to come that has not happened yet. So again, it's his promise. I'm trying to show you the promise. He didn't say I'm going to throw them away and gather to myself a new people. Look at the promise. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave to their fathers, only if they will observe to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them. All right. His plan is when we return back to him, he returns back to us, and that he's going to come, he's going to deliver us, and he's going to take us back into our land where we will never move any more out of the land. That's the promise. That's his plan, not to replace us, but to fulfill his word. If you're saying that the Christians, get to replace Israel, you're saying the Most High is a liar. He made a promise that he's not going to keep, that he's not good for his word. That's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. Be careful what you're saying, because what you're saying is making you an enemy of the highest, unbeknownst to you. But your ignorance is not going to be an excuse in judgment. All right. First Chronicles chapter 6, verse 49. But Aaron and his sons offered upon the altar of the burnt offering and on the altar of incense, and were appointed for all the work of the place most holy, and to make an atonement for Israel, not for all the world, not for all the earth, right? To make an atonement for Israel in the same way that Yahawah came, not to make an atonement for all the earth, but an atonement for Israel. All right. Again, the same way Aaron interceded for Israel to make an atonement for Israel, Yahawah would come, right, to offer up a sacrifice for Israel, to make an atonement for Israel. See, this was a shadow of things to come, a pattern. All right, a pattern to notice so that we would recognize the Most High's works later. Okay, let's go to First Chronicles. First Chronicles 17. Verse 6. Wheresoever I have walked with all Israel, he's never walked with any other nation. Wheresoever I have walked with all Israel, spake I a word to any of the judges of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people, saying, why have ye not built me an house of cedars? All right, this sounds much like what we read before, right? Exactly. And so he says, I've walked with all of Israel. He's only walked with Israel. All right. And he says, whom I commanded to feed my people, Israel. All right. Again, thus, therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, even from following the sheep, that thou shouldest be ruler over my people Israel. All right. We heard this before, right? Verse 9, also I will ordain a place for my people Israel. Right? All right, good. You remember this. I'm sure you remember this. Okay, let's go to Second Chronicles chapter 6. Verse 5. Since the day that I brought forth my people out of the land of Egypt, I chose no city among all the tribes of Israel to build an house in, that my name might be there. Neither chose I any man to be ruler over my people Israel. Again, sounds like you heard this before, right? Right. Yes, you have. All right. So again, I'm covering, we're getting this in this fashion because repetition is the key. But it was repeated in the scriptures because repetition is the key. All right. And verse 6 says, but I have chosen Jerusalem, not Christians, that my name might be there, and have chosen David to be over my people Israel. Right now, it was in the heart of David, my father, to build an house for the name of Yahawah, the God of Israel. Right? Let's see. Let's come down to verse 25. Then hear thou from the heavens and forgive the sin of your people Israel, and bring them again unto the land which thou gavest to them and their fathers. See, this is a sign of things to come, where the Most High would hear from the heavens and forgive the sins of his people Israel, not throw us away, but forgive our sins and bring us again into the land which he gave to us and to our fathers. This is the plan. All right. Verse 27. Then hear thou from heaven and forgive the sin of thy servants and of thy people Israel, when thou hast taught them the good way wherein they should walk. That's what's happening right now. You see, this is a foreshadowing of what's to come, of the fact that he is going to forgive our sins when he has taught us the good way wherein we should walk, right? And send rain upon thy land, which thou hast given unto your people for an inheritance. Let's come down to verse 32. It reads, moreover, concerning the stranger, which is not of thy people Israel. All right. Again, because this is all a foreshadowing of future events when we are back in our land and the other nations are cleaving unto us, those who are given the ability to cleave unto us, who are not of our people. They are not of Israel. They are strangers who will cleave to us in that day. But they are never called his people, but they will get to cleave, but they are not called his people, but they will get to cleave. Okay. Verse 34, if your people go out to war against their enemies by the way that thou shalt send them, and they pray unto thee toward this city, which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name, then hear thou from the heavens their prayer and their supplications, and maintain their cause. Wait a minute. So the Most High hears the voice and the prayers of the Israelites, and when they cry out for the destruction of their enemies, he listens, he calls out, and he fulfills it. You see, that's why it's scary when they're seeing us awaken and we're calling for the destruction of our enemies, because they know the Most High is going to listen. This is why they're terrified, because they know he's going to listen, because we're coming back to righteousness. We've turned to him again. So he's turned to us again, and we're calling for their destruction. And it's scary. You see, that's what he does when we turn back. Is he turns back to us, and then he fights against our enemies for us. So of course these people are going to hate this awakening. Of course they're going to be anti this awakening, because they're anti the Most High. They're anti his people. They're anti him. They don't want us to rule and to reign. Satan wants to rule and reign. But he's scheduled to be brought down out of power, and we're going to be lifted up. He's trying to preserve power. Power is not given, it's taken. Satan is trying to not go down without a fight, and he's utilizing his people, his vessels, the Christians, to fight this fight for him. Be careful which side of this war you find yourself on. All right, because there is a war happening. Then, verse 39, hear thou from the heavens, even from thy dwelling place, their prayer and their supplications, and maintain their cause, and forgive thy people which have sinned against thee. He's asking him to do this because he knows that he's going to do this. So he's praying for the Most High to fulfill his word. He's praying for him to fulfill his promises. King Solomon, the most wise man, he understood the promises of the Most High. And who are you people who are nowhere near as smart as him to think that the Most High is going to reject, cast away, and forsake his people when he didn't say that's what he was going to do? Never. He never said that's what he was going to do. Right? 2 Chronicles 7, verse 14. If my people, which are called by my name, the Israelites are called by his name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is what's happening now. Prophecy is unfolding. Everybody is watching this happen, and so they're scared. They're terrified. That's why they're coming against this awakening. Not because there's something wrong with us, not because we're wrong, but because our awakening means their end. That's why. That's what you're witnessing. That's what the fight is against good and evil. You may be standing on the wrong side of this thing. All right. 2 Chronicles 10, verse 16. And when all Israel saw that the king would not hearken unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? And we have none inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to your tents, O Israel. And now, David, see to thy own house. So all Israel went to their tents. But as for the children of Israel that dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. What is this talking about? It's talking about the split between the children of Israel, right? How 9 tribes gathered together and went one way, and the other 3 tribes went another way, and they were no more one kingdom from that time on. But the Most High, he stayed with the house of Judah, and he sent off the other 9 tribes who went heavily into idolatry. They became Gentiles. They went after the gods of the other nations. The house of Judah worshiped him still and remained in service to him. But the house of Israel, the other 9 tribes, they became Gentiles. They were disconnected from him and were no longer his people for a time. You see the pattern. He disconnected from them for a time, but then he would come back for them. That's why Yahawah said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because he came to gather that which was lost. He came to bring the 12 tribes all back into one fold. He came to bring the 2 kingdoms into one fold. All right. Let's get chapter 13, verse 5. And it reads, ought ye not to know that the Lord Yahawah, the God of Israel, gave the kingdom over Israel to David forever, even to him and to his sons by a covenant of salt? Ought ye to know that Yahawah Bahashem Yahushai, the God of Israel, gave the kingdom over Israel to David forever, even to him and to his sons by a covenant of salt. And so for those of us, who are of the house of David, we have this covenant and promise that will not be broken or disannulled because the Christians say so. All right, let's go to 2 Chronicles 28. Verse 10 reads, and now ye purpose to keep under the children of Judah and Jerusalem for bondmen and bondwomen unto you. But are there not, with you, even with you, sins against Yahawah, Bahashem Yahushai, your God, right? Your God, again, possessive. All right. He is the God of the Israelites, not the God of all the other nations. Now hear me, therefore, and deliver the captives again, which ye have taken captive of your brethren, for the fierce wrath of Yahawah is upon you. And so what this is getting into is the beef, the wars between the house of Judah and the house of Israel. You see, because they split and then they became enemies. They were at odds with one another. That's why in the New Testament, you hear of Judah, but not of the house of Israel. And then you hear about the jealousy and the animosity between the house of Israel and the house of Judah. All right. That's why the woman in Samaria, the Samaritan woman, right, when she says, "What have thee to do with me?" Right, with us, right? You're of Judah, right? I'm not of Judah. I'm of the house of Israel. And y'all have nothing to do with us. That's why she was having that conversation the way she was having it with Yahushua, because of the split between the two kingdoms. All right. And he came to remove the middle wall of partition between the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Israel, and to keep the promises to Israel that were made to Israel. Right? Psalm 81, verse 13 says, "Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways." All right, again, specifically talking to Israel and about Israel and referencing Israel as my people, he says. All right, Isaiah 10, verse 24. "Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawah of hosts, O my people that dwellest in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrian, be not afraid of the United States of America. He shall smite thee with the rod and shall lift up his staff against thee after the manner of Egypt." All right. "O my people that dwellest in Zion," not that dwellest upon the whole earth. Right. Isaiah 11 and 11 says, "And it shall come to pass," it shall, that means it's a guarantee, "in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people." You see, the remnant, it's all about the remnant of his people and not the whole. So it doesn't matter that there were some people who didn't believe. It doesn't matter that there were non-believers. All of his people were not thrown away because of the non-believers, because of the unbelievers. The unbelievers will get the reward of unbelievers. But what about the remnant who loved him, who believed in him, who have faith in him? He says, I'm going to recover them. I'm going to recover them. That's a promise that he intends to keep. Right? He says, "And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel." He's going to gather his people who were the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Who is he going to gather from the four corners of the earth? The dispersed of Judah. So when Yahushua said that, he was going to send his angel to gather his elect from the four corners of the earth, he wasn't talking about Christian believers. You're reading the script, you're reading right here who those people are. They're the outcasts of Israel. They are the dispersed of Judah. All right. Let's get verse 16. "And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people." for the remnant of his people, which shall be left. All right. He cares for the remnant of his people. There is a separation between the remnant and the whole. The remnant is who's left after he destroys the rest of them, because a good amount are going to have to die because they were unbelievers, because they persecuted his son, because they hated him, because they did not love him, because they did wickedly, because they were evil. Yes, many Israelites are wicked and they are going to get the reward of the wicked, but that doesn't mean all of Israel is going to be thrown away and be replaced by Christian believers. Not going to happen. That is not the plan. He's all about the small number of people, not the large. The same way we talk about the same God who saved 8 people on the ark and destroyed everybody else. He's going to save a small portion of his people and destroy the great majority of everybody else. All right. Isaiah 19. Again, patterns, right? Patterns. He wanted you to see what he would do so that you know what he will do. All right. So Isaiah 19, verse 25. All right. So again, if you know what he did do, you should know what he would do. So again, the argument that, oh, he wouldn't do that. Oh, he loves everybody, when he has killed everybody in the earth before. When he has constantly, killed people, destroyed other nations who come against his people. All right, I'm gonna bring these people upon you to put you in captivity. All right, now I'm gonna kill those people who put you in slavery. All right, I'm gonna take you out. All right, now I'm gonna, put you in captivity to these people. All right, now I'm gonna bring you out and I'm gonna destroy those people who enslaved you. That's the pattern. That's why they're afraid. Because what does that mean? If we are Israel, which we are, and our captivity that we went into, that this worldwide slave trade we went into, if this was indeed, the pattern continuing for Israel, which it was, what's next? That's the terrifying part. What's next? Well, what does the pattern say is next? The destruction of the people who enslaved them. That's what's next. Him saving his people out of the hands of those people and destroying those people who he used to enslave his people. That's what's next. That's why this awakening is making so many people upset and why they're coming against it. Again, it's not because we're wrong. It's not because we're some hate group or some cult. It's because we are living prophecies. Our awakening is letting everybody know where we are in the Most High's plan, and they know this thing is almost over for them. They are literally watching the end come. Us awakening and prophesying and teaching the way we are right now, we are literally a sign that the end is near. That's what you're watching. That's why they're coming against us. Not because we're wrong and they got it right. No, that's not why. All right, let's get Isaiah 52. Verse 6. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Not everybody. My people shall know my name. Why do you think that all of these people have been calling on this name Jebus all this time, and all of a sudden you hear us, the Israelites, we're calling on this name that other people, no one else has called on before, right? You've heard people call on Yahweh. You heard the other nations call on Yahweh. You've heard these other nations call on Yeshua. You've heard these other nations call on Yahuwah. But you know what name you've never heard them call? Yahawah, Yahawah. Not until us, not until the Israelite awakening, right? Exactly. All right. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Therefore, they shall know in that day that I am he that doth speak. Behold, it is I. This is him saying, I'm going to fulfill my promises, and they're going to know that it has been me for sure that has been speaking all this time. They're going to know it was me when I fulfill my promises. When I do everything that I said I was going to do, they're going to know. There's going to be no discrepancies. They're going to understand, right? Let's go to Jeremiah 11. Verse 4. And I start at verse 3. And say thou unto them, thus saith Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the God of Israel, cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant, which I commanded your fathers, not the Christians, your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, from the iron furnace, saying, obey my voice, obey Yahushai, and do them, according to all which I command you. So shall ye be my people, and I will be your God. So shall ye be my people. Not whoever does these things. No, if you do these things, you will be my people. So picking up this book as a Christian and, a non-Israelite and trying to, live by this book doesn't make you his people. Just make you people who got some sort of knowledge of the understand of the truth, some sort of knowledge of him, some sort of. You heard me say that right. Okay, let's go to Jeremiah 12, verse 14. Thus saith Yahawah, against all mine evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land and pluck out the house of Judah from among them. Let's get it again. Thus saith Yahawah, against all mine evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. What does he call all of these people that have come unto us and took our land and colonized the whole earth? What does he call them? Evil neighbors. Evil neighbors, right? That touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. They have taken all of our lands. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land. He's going to pluck our enemies out of their land, right? And pluck out the house of Judah from among them. And so he's talking about plucking us out, right? Saving us from our evil neighbors and from out of the hands of our enemies. He says, and it shall come to pass after that I have plucked them out, I will return and have compassion on them and will bring them again, every man to his heritage and every man to his land. You see the promises? It sounds nothing like what the Christians say, right? So who's wrong, the Bible or the Christians? Both can't be true. So who's right? Who's wrong? All right. Jeremiah 13, verse 11. For as the girdle cleaveth to the loins of a man, so have I caused to cleave unto me the whole house of Israel and the whole house of Judah, saith Yahawah, that they might be unto me for a people and for a name and for a praise and for a glory, but they would not hear. You see, he's telling you what his plan is. His plan, what his desire is for Israel and Judah to be unto him for a people, for a name, and for a praise, and for a glory, but they would not hear. That's why we got in trouble. That's why we went into captivity. But he didn't say that because of this, he's going to throw us away and heap to himself a new people, some new spiritual Israelites. It's not what he said. It's not what he said. All right, let's go to Jeremiah 23. Verse 13. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria, right? Prophets of Samaria. These are the prophets of the northern kingdom Israelites. They prophesied in Baal. You see, they were worshiping Baal and caused my people Israel to error. You see, this is why they became Gentiles, why he disconnected them from him. All right. So again, when you're reading about the Gentiles who the apostles and disciples are going to in the New Testament, this is who it's talking about. It's talking about the Israelite Gentiles who went astray. All right. I've seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem a horrible thing. All right. But I got everything from here I want to get. Let's go to, we're going to say in this chapter. Let's go to verse 32 real quick. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, saith the Lord, Yahawah, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies and by their likeness. Yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore they shall not profit this people at all, saith the Lord. And you have this happening right now with our people who are in the Christian church. All right. Let's go to Jeremiah 24, verse 7. And I will give them an heart to know me, that I am Yahawah, and they shall be my people. He's talking about, after we have transgressed and we have fallen, and when he starts to heal us, right? And to bring us back to him. And I will give them a heart to know me, that I am Yahawah, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God, for they shall return unto me with their whole heart. This is happening now. All right? This is happening now. Let's go to Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah 30, verse 3. For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. Who did he say? He said, I'm going to bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, both kingdoms. So all 12 tribes, not just Judah. So Judah shouldn't be the only one in their land once he puts them there. All right. It should be all of Israel there. All 12 tribes should be in the land together. Otherwise, Israel shouldn't be in the land at all. I'm sorry, and Judah shouldn't be in the land at all without all the other tribes. Okay. Let's go to verse 31. Verse 1. At the same time, saith Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahushai, will I be the God of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. And I will be the God of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. Clear as cut, clear as day, right? Clear as day, clear cut and clear as day. All right, Jeremiah 32, verse 38. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. Again, it's talking to Israel. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. And I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and of their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, and they shall not depart from me. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do good, and will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. You see, he's telling you who he is and what his desires are. He's telling you what he plans to do, right? So if you're not believing him and his word, who are you listening to? Who are you believing? All right, so Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 50, verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. What was it that Yahawah said again when he came? I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. My people have been lost sheep. All right. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. And this is still happening now. You got many, quote unquote, black churches. These shepherds are causing his people to go astray. All right. Let's go to Ezekiel 11. Told y'all this is going to be exhaustive. All right. I told you we were going to bludgeon the lies and the enemy to death with the truth, with an abundance of the truth, with evidence, scriptural evidence, not feelings. All right. Ezekiel 11, verse 20. And it reads, that they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God. All right. Again, concerning Israel, he says, I will give them one heart and will put a new spirit within you. Not that I would gather a new people. No, I will give them one heart and I will put a new spirit within you. And I will take the stony heart out of their flesh and will give them a heart of flesh, that they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. You see his promises? You see what his word? See what he says he's going to do? Different from what you interpret what he's doing in the New Testament. It's quite different from what Christianity says that he's doing. Quite different. All right, Ezekiel 14. So, since the scriptures are at odds with Christian doctrine, do you hold fast to the scriptures or do you hold fast to Christian doctrine? That's what you're left with. All right, Ezekiel 14, verse 11. Verse 10, and they shall bear the punishment of their iniquity, which we have done. The punishment of the prophet shall be even as the punishment of him that seeketh unto him, that the house of Israel may go no more astray from me, neither be polluted any more with all their transgressions. You see that? But that they may be my people, and I may be their God, saith Yahawah. Did you hear what he said? All right, let's go to Ezekiel 20. I am systematically, this is what you call walking them down. I'm walking them down with the scriptures through the Holy Spirit. Right? So Ezekiel 20, verse 5 says, and say unto them, thus saith Yahawah, in the day when I chose Israel and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up mine hand unto them, saying, I am Yahawah, your God. Yes, I'm emphasizing the your for a reason. All right. Let's go to verse 9. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Verse 14. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Again, a pattern of things to come, right? He's going to do this again. He is going for his name's sake, not for us, not for our righteousness' sake, but for his own, right? He is going to bring us out from before the heathen. They are going to see our salvation. They are not going to take part in our salvation. They are not going to replace us and get to receive the salvation. They are going to watch us be brought from out among them. All right, let's get verse 22. Nevertheless, I withdrew mine hand and wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. Again, he did this before in Egypt. He's going to do it again. That's what the second Exodus is all about. Not the Christian Exodus. The second Exodus, because if it's called the second Exodus because it's the second Exodus of the Israelites. There was never a Christian Exodus. So there can't be a second Christian Exodus if there was never a first. All right, let's come down to verse 44. And ye shall know that I am Yahawah, when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways. You see that? Not according to your wicked ways. He's not going to throw away Israel, right? Because of not all of Israel following after and having faith in and believe in Yahushua, his son. Not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Israel, saith Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right, let's go to Ezekiel 34. Ezekiel 34, verse 30. Thus shall they know that I, Yahawah Bahashem Yahushai, their God, am with them. I'm with them. They're going to know that I'm with them. And that they, who's they? Christians? No, he's going to be clear. Even the house of Israel are my people. Look, this is end time prophecy. He's saying he's going to make it clear that Israel are his people. Why is he saying this? Because he knows that in this time we have Christian theology, Christian doctrine saying that they are his people. So he's saying that in that day, they're going to know that I am with them. They're going to know that they are my people. Everybody's going to know that the house of Israel are my people. You see? Let's go to Ezekiel 36. And it reads, verse 8. It says, but ye, O mountains of Israel, ye, O 144,000, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. This is where we are now. Also, this is happening right now. I fully believe and entrust and have faith in the fact that I am one of the 144,000. All of these lessons, this is me shooting forth my branches and yielding my fruit to his people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. You see? Let's go to, well, we're going to stay here. Let's go to verse 12. Yea, I will cause men to walk upon you, even my people Israel. All right, that's what I wanted. My people Israel, he says. Verse 28. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers. Again, letting you know that these people, these are not Christian converts. These are not spiritual Israelites. These are the blood descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's making that absolutely abundantly clear, beyond a shadow of a doubt. You cannot argue this. That's why he says, you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, so that Christians couldn't get around this. And ye shall be my people. Who? The descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I will be your God. All right. Let's go to Ezekiel 37. Verse 23. And it reads, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols. Remember, we know Israel went heavily into idolatry, right? And we are not going to be forsaken and thrown away and replaced because of it. All right. The prophecies tell us, his promises say that the time is going to come when neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Verse 27. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. All right. And the heathen shall know. There's not going to be any more conjecture about this. The heathen shall know that I, Yahawah, do sanctify Israel. Listen, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. All right, let's go to Hosea chapter 2. Hosea chapter 2, verse 23. And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. All right, again, let's talk about his people. And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God. Because remember, he divorced the house of Israel. They went into idolatry. They became Gentiles. They were no longer considered his people for a time. For a time. But the time would come when he says, I will have mercy upon them and then call them my people again. That's what you just heard him say. Not that they would be cast off forever, but that they would be cast off for a time, but then he would come back and have mercy upon them, upon us, and then we would become his people again. All right, let's go to Joel chapter 2. Verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am Yahawah, your God, listen, and none else. What? Read that again. Brother Yahawah Ram, what did that say? And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am Yahawah, your power, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. Wow. Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. Sounds familiar. Sounds like he's talking about, he's saying that his people have been scattered like they went into a worldwide slavery. Wow. And they're going to have to pay for enslaving his people and parting his land. See why they hate this awakening? Because these things are close. Us being awake, it signifies that these things are near. All right, Micah chapter 6, verse 5. O my people, remember now what Balak, king of Moab, consulted, and what Balaam, the son of Beor, answered him from Shittim unto Gilgal, that ye may know the righteousness of Yahawah. All right. Oh, my people was the part to note, speaking to Israel. All right. Oh, my people, in reference to Israel, not to some other nation. Zechariah 8 and 8. And I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. All right. But if you back up, because somebody's gonna say it, well, how do we know that's talking about Israel? The coming peace and prosperity in Zion. All right. In Zion. I am returned unto Zion and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, he says. Okay. He says, thus said, verse 7, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west, and will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. All right. So now I want you to just see something before your eyes, right? I'm not going to go into a bunch of scriptures about this, but maybe you can do it for yourself, right? If you got the Bible app, it's easier to do this than if you have, a physical book. So if you have a Bible app, type in the search bar, God of Israel. And you'll see, right, that there are 203 exact phrases. 203 exact phrases. So this was said in the Bible 203 times. That's what it means by exact phrases. Okay? God of Israel, 203 times that phrase shows up. God of Christians. Let's see what we get. Oh, 0. Okay. God of spiritual Israel. Oh, 0. God of Gentiles. You notice it says up here, it says, it doesn't say anything about exact matches because there are no exact matches. All right. When it says occur 69 times, what it's showing you here is that in verses like God followed by the word of and the word Gentiles happens that often, not as a phrase, but just as the words being used in a verse. So we're looking for exact matches. And so there are no exact matches for that search query. But if end time prophecy was all about the Gentiles being the spiritual Israelites and them being the ones that get salvation, wouldn't there be some mention? I mean, at least once it would mention it inside the scriptures, but it doesn't mention it not one time, but yet it's so important. And it's the most important thing that we need to know is that the Christians are the Israelites and the Christians are his people, but yet there isn't one mention of it in the Bible, not one single mention of it. That's amazing. That's astounding to me, right? So, that'll conclude this. Again, I could have like hammered this into the absolute ether by going and gathering those 203 those 203 exact matches to read them and show you. But I decided to spare you and just to show you that they're there. They exist. 203 exact matches. You can do this for yourself and go and read those 203 exact matches for yourself. And I'm going to say all praise, honor, and glory belongs to our Father Yahawah. In the name of our beloved King, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, I give thanks always for the outpouring of his Holy Spirit. I give thanks always for being commissioned to be a part of this ministry and for the great hope that is set before me for us. I give thanks to our power always, today, now, forever, for all things. Amen. So I'll see you guys on the next one, Yahawah willing. Go be a blessing to somebody else. You've been edified. Now go and edify. Each one, reach one. Shalom.